So I would like to present to you the work on our tool we have recently developed. It's called Pythia, and it deals with analysis of piecewise multi-affine dynamical systems under parameter uncertainty. The tool has been developed in our Sibylla laboratory in Maastricht University in Brno, and it is joint work with Martin Demko, with Nikola Beneš, with Luboš Brim and Samuel Pastva. Sam and Nikola, they can raise their hands. They are here in the room. All of us three are here available to you until the end of the conference if you want to see the tool working. So what is the background for this tool? So it comes from the need to analyze the models of nonlinear continuous dynamical systems under parameter uncertainty. Especially we deal with models of complex systems with positive and negative feedback. And our special interest is in models that come in systems biology, where these dynamical systems are used to model the dynamics of the biological processes. We are also interested in design and control of synthetic biological circuits, and this is all where these kind of models applies to. There is a very small example of a biological system. It's actually a biological network that controls the decision processes in the cell division in a cell cycle. So the cell divides and it can decide for the division, and this is irreversible decision. It is very important, especially when studying the cancer cells. And this kind of system is a nonlinear dynamical system. There are two proteins, and the dynamics of them is modeled in terms of ordinary differential equations. A good point on it is that in these biological systems, you often have the form of sigmoidal kinetics, and these sigmoidal kinetics can be represented and approximated by means of piecewise multi-affine functions. So then we can take these piecewise multi-affine functions, abstract them by finite discrete quotients that we can analyze by formal methods. The problem, the task we solve is actually to find the parameter values that satisfy and guarantee satisfaction of a desired behavior. In this case, it can be just for the purpose of parameter identification. So we would like to see when the feature of a so-called genetic switch, so it means the existence of two different stable states in the system dynamics, which in turn gives the cell the ability to decide. So we can be interested in for what parameters in this kinetic model this kind of a genetic switch is present. The other purpose is to tune the system we are the model, to find the parameters that somehow can control the dynamics of the system. For example, in this case, we would like to avoid and restrict the cell division. It can be interested for cancer cells. These requests can be modeled in terms of expressive temporal logic by using, for example, hybrid operators and other kinds of temporal logic. So the problem setting is that we have the model, the parameterized model of a dynamical system that is given by ODEs. We have a set of behavior constraints, and we have a set of a priori given parameter constraints. We put everything together, and we compute the maximal set of parameter values that satisfy these constraints. So that's the parameter synthesis procedure. Actually, this procedure is embedded into a workflow that starts with the parameterized ODE model, and it continues by approximation, where we employ the method implemented by Ezio Bartocci, and it was presented on CAF paper 2011. And this is the procedure that allows us to approximate the model into the piecewise multi-affine model. And then the abstraction procedure of Karin delta is used to over-approximate conservatively the system dynamics by means of parameterized Kripke structure. Then we take the behavior constraints represented by mass temporal formulae, and we take the parameter constraints. And we put all together, and we exploit the model checking to the method called car model checking we have published in ATVA last year that exploits the exhaustive power of model checking to synthesize the parameters that satisfy the given constraints. So the related tools are, this kind of workflow was implemented in several other tools, actually. And we have taken from one of these tools, this called Origin, we have taken just this idea of automatized approximation of the continuous system to the piecewise multi-affine system. And our contribution to this field also has some history, so we have implemented two prototypes, actually, that use the explicit state space traversal and allows, there are parallel algorithms for this calc model checking procedure for LTL and recently also for CTL. And this tool, Pythia, actually extends this last prototype by means of combining the explicit state traversal with symbolic computation over the parameter space. The tool is parallel and it extends CTL into the hybrid logic with hybrid CTL. The architecture of the tool is divided into the core. The core has a command line interface. It is open source. It's completely written in Kotlin. It uses Java multithreading. And the other part is implemented in R. It enables the graphical user interface. This allows us to deploy this to the scientific cloud where this service is currently available. From the technical side, from functional modules, so the main functional modules are the approximation engine that is connected to this model explorer in the graphical user interface, so one can actually visually explore how the approximation has been done, so you can explore the system dynamics of the original system by simulation, and then you can compare with the approximated model. On the other side, there is this parameter synthesis engine that uses these model checking techniques and synthesize the parameter space, and you can explore then in the graphical user interface the results. So you can explore the 2D projections of the valid parameters and the corresponding satisfying states. There is also the availability of storing the experiments, so we can compare the experiments that has been already done with the present experiment. We have done several case studies. Actually, the tool has been used, or the prototypes of this tool have been used for some case studies in real systems biology. One of these is toxicology, when we synthesized in collaboration with biologists, synthesized the artificial circuit into the E. coli that allows to degrade the trichlorpropane. And the other case is human health, where we are interested in modeling of signaling pathways affecting dysplasia. As a future work, we want to extend this to bifurcation analysis, which we already have done some theoretical steps in FM. And we also would like to exploit this universality of the engine to also analyze other kind of models that are discrete by the origin, so I mean Boolean networks. And you're welcome to see the tool running. So thank you very much for your attention.
So we have a time for a couple of questions for the breakout. So I have a question. So
Okay.
Are you still collaborating with the biologists?
Yes.
And so where are they from? Are they university or hospital?
Yeah, so they are from university actually. So there is one in Brno in the scientific faculty. They are interested in. It's actually connected to the hospital, to the research center in the hospital. So they are really interested in treatment of this dysplasia. They do it on rats. So actually there they speak about the model. It's a rat model. We have this model, so that we need to combine. Yeah.
And, there's a mic.
Okay.
Two questions. The first is, can this tool handle nonlinear differential equations or only piecewise affine?
Yes, so the tool can handle the nonlinear equations, but they are approximated into the piecewise multi-affine, and there is some error produced, and so you need to analyze the error that is caused, which is not already that easy, and it's not done yet. So you can, but you produce error.
So what is the philosophy behind this tool? I mean, does it do an automata-based abstraction?
Oh yeah?
Okay.
So that's abstraction that results in the automaton at the end.
Then why don't you directly abstract the nonlinear differential equations into an automata instead of first converting into a piecewise affine system? I mean, you can directly abstract the nonlinear dynamics into an automata, right? So.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably we can.
So when you convert a nonlinear dynamics into an automata, why do you need this layer of piecewise affine in between? I guess a direct abstraction is also possible. I'm not sure, but
okay. So it's probably good to speak then offline.
Yeah, thanks for this suggestion. So I think we should thank David again and sort of move on to the coffee break where you can ask your brilliant question.
Okay. Thank you.